Are you doing the intro?
Well, I guess so. Hi, I'm Amelia's mom. And we're here in Chicago at Lamplight for the first time ever with Amelia, and it's exciting. How do you feel about Lamplight?
It's been exciting so far. It's a little bit, I'm so used to riding like 12 horses a day, and now I only have one, so I'm a little bored. So that's why we're doing this interview. But it's inspiring. We've seen some amazing rides and some just incredible horses and really good riders. So it's cool to be at a show where you're with top riders and top horses from all over the country. That's always inspiring.
You're riding Harvey tomorrow. Are you prepared?
Am I prepared? Yes, I hope so. I've been preparing for years. I think, every day you ride your horse, you're preparing. So you have to kind of think of it like that. I think that in training, it's really important, the continuity of it and just making little baby steps. It's not getting ready for a test. You can't really cram for it. It's not like in school where you can wait until the last minute and then do all your studying in the last week. It really doesn't work that way with horses. Horses, it's much more about being really, just consistent. And every day, I've had Harvey since he was 5. So I've ridden him 5 days a week for 3 years and just, plodding away at the details and the basics and then leading up to the show, doing some fine tuning and videoing and getting some additional help. But it's all just about in the day-to-day developing a relationship with your horse, getting to know them mentally, and then also developing them physically where they have the correct muscles and fitness to do what we want.
So you have your test tomorrow. What are your strongest movements? What are you going to nail tomorrow?
My strongest movements, for sure, is my pirouettes. Harvey has really, really good pirouettes. He has an amazing ability to really sit in the canter and also keep the activity and the expression. So it's just mainly for me getting him set up right, and he will do the job. He also has really nice trot work. Sometimes in the showing he gets kind of puffed up and he just feels like he's floating. So hopefully tomorrow, that's always the hard part, is getting him where he's a little bit excited, but where he's still with me enough that he's rideable.
How do you think about the competition? I know a lot of amateurs want to go out and show and get a blue ribbon, but that's not going to happen tomorrow, likely. So how do you think about your competition in this show?
Yeah, so it's hard in dressage because so much of winning honestly has to do with the horse that you have. And it can be a little bit discouraging because often the person with the best horse wins. But it's important to keep in mind, at least for me, that I always think of trying to ride my personal best. So for where my horse is, what we've been working on this year, really trying to improve on certain little details and ride the best test that I can ride for Harvey. It's also important in dressage that you're always training for the future, so that you keep that in mind even in the test. Really, you're always schooling. I had one of my old teachers said to me that, until you're doing the Grand Prix at the Olympics, you're always schooling. So you're always trying to give your horse a good experience, and even in the show ring, to make little corrections that will serve you in the future. So that's just what I hope for, is that I want to have a good, positive ride. I want to do my personal best, but also for Harvey, he's a really sensitive horse, and I want to just give him a good experience in the ring so that next year and the year after, and when he's doing the Grand Prix, that we really have a partnership even in the show ring.
Could you comment? You said something interesting yesterday, that you wanted your outreach to be like dressage for all, like everybody can do this. And I think that's interesting. Can you talk about a little bit about your channel and the courses? What are you trying to do?
That's a good question. I think I've always felt a little bit like kind of left out. And dressage is difficult because it's so expensive and it is so elitist. And a lot of the way that the programs and the shows and everything is set up is that, you know, if you don't have the right connections or the right money or whatever, it's really hard to get good enough to rise to the top. So part of what I'm trying to do through my online videos and my Facebook group and everything that I'm doing is trying to share the knowledge that I've been lucky enough to have to help people all over the world, so that people that are in their backyard that don't have access to top trainers, that they can get some of the knowledge and learn from me, because I think that dressage should be more fair and it should be more accessible to everyone. I also really believe that if you work hard enough and if you're determined, that you can get there and you can make it to the top. So really studying every video that you can watch. I remember doing that when I was a kid. We had, you know, it was like the old VHS tapes, and we had this video about the Mustang. Do you remember what that lady's name was? It was like Kelly something.
Kelly in Colorado.
Yeah. And so there was this video of this girl that rescued a Mustang and then how she trained the horse to the FEI. And I must have watched that video 100 times, and I was just trying to learn everything that I could from that video, because you can learn a lot from watching, and maybe you can't afford to have, you know, Charlotte Dujardin train you every day, but there's a lot of other things that you can do to improve your riding. So that's a little bit my goal, is to try to share my knowledge and share my journey to help as many people as possible find a way to enjoy their horse and also to really understand the system of dressage and how it works to train a horse.
Thank you for the interview. I'd like you to know Amelia bought me a shirt today, so we match.
We're matching.
For the jog.
Yes, we better go to
Do
the
your
jog.
best tomorrow.
4:34. We have 1 hour.
Thank you.
Bye.